What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. It's a great day to start yourself a side hustle. It's a great day to add a stream of income to your life. Because I'm going to let you know something. If you have one and only one source of income, and your plan is to go from 2025 into 2026 with that only one solo stream of income, you are going to get crushed. You need to build multiple streams of income. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of doing so and how I've gone about doing so and how it has completely transformed my entire life. So much so that I've gotten to the point that one of my little side hustles, or one of my additional streams of income, pays me more than a part-time job. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for a bunch of videos. Subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos, and make sure to follow me on Instagram for interesting finance photography. Follow me on TikTok for little video snippets, and of course, follow me on X. That's where the party's at. For all of my thoughts on precious metals, business, stocks, real estate, AI, memes, the list goes on, at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms, or they're going to be linked in the description. I will also be including some supplies, some prepping supplies and whatnot, and some affiliate links in the description for your convenience. And last but certainly not least, make sure to come and join us in the VIP club. It is where you get access to all of my videos early and commercial free, and from time to time you'll get some bonus exclusive VIP only content as well. Link in the description. Okay, so in today's video, we got to talk about the importance of building yourself multiple streams of income. Most people out there have only one stream of income, their full-time job. I'm here to tell you that is not enough. You need to get yourself at least an additional stream of income. At least get yourself up to 2 sources of income. Now, this doesn't have to mean going out and getting yourself a second job and all of a sudden having to go from working 40 hours a week to now 60 hours a week and overload yourself with work and bombard yourself with more strenuous or mentally taxing activities. I'm not here to say go and get yourself a second job. I do believe getting yourself a second job is a very smart thing to do. And it's for a number of reasons. Number one, for a little bit of a safety net. I think it's better to have 2 jobs because if, God forbid, something were to happen to one of your 2 jobs, guess who still has a job? That's what I've always felt. That's what I've thought since pretty much as soon as I became an adult, to be honest with you. One of the first things I did was go out and look for a second job just so I had 2. Just in case. And also, for obvious reasons, a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra saving money, investing money, spending money, whatever. It's good to have 2 jobs for that reason alone. Now, me personally, I have, believe it or not, 8 extra sources of income outside of my full-time job. Obviously, my full-time job is my largest source of income, but I have 8 additional ones as well. Now, only 3, maybe 4 of those other 8 pay me enough for the average person to say, oh, that's definitely worthwhile. The other ones, maybe not so much. ... Not yet. But one of the 8, believe it or not, pays me more than a second job. And this wasn't a magic trick. This was about half a decade in the making, half a decade worth of work, half a decade worth of blood, sweat, and tears just to make it possible. And I'm nowhere even close to reaching my goal. But if you think about it, that's huge. Now, I'm going to get into some specifics when it comes to building yourself multiple streams of income. Obviously, my full-time job is my primary source of income. That is my bread and butter. My second largest stream of income is on paper gains, capital appreciation that I see from my investments going up in value. And my third largest stream of income would be none other than my second job. Now, side note here, my second job will eventually be my full-time job. My plan is a little bit later down the road, maybe another year, 2 years in the future, I actually plan on flip-flopping. I actually plan on stepping down at my full-time job to maybe just some little, part-time position and pursuing management at my second job. I like it a lot more. I think the future is far more bright, and I think there's a lot more money to make. But I digress. Right now, my second job is my third largest stream of income. And the capital appreciation that I have seen from the investments that I've been making for over 5 years now has now exceeded what I make in an entire year by working at a part-time secondary job. Now, I found this out in January. I looked at all of my numbers from the previous year. I was like, okay, what were my year-to-date earnings from my full-time job? Make sure that's in line. My year-to-date earnings from my part-time job, okay? And then obviously at the beginning of each month, the previous month's statements come out from your investment accounts, your 401ks, your taxable accounts and whatnot. And I looked at my taxable accounts and I looked at the capital appreciation that I saw from the beginning of 2024 all the way to the end of 2024. Remember, this is January of 2025. I actually got to look at these numbers and I came to one conclusion. And that conclusion was, oh my God, the dollar amount that I'm looking at on paper gains from the stock market is a larger dollar amount than I earned through active income by working at a second job for 12 straight months. Now, this told me something. This told me that I am one step closer to eventually, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know what year this will happen. But there will be a year where in January I look at my annualized reports from the previous year, and there eventually will be a January, some year in the future, where I look and say to myself, oh my God, I made more money in the stock market than I made from my full-time job. That will eventually be a reality. You want to know what else will eventually be a reality? 1 year, I'll be able to look and see that I made more money in the stock market than I made from both my full-time and my part-time job blended together. That's huge. That's compound interest, people. That's small steps in the right direction, eventually taking you to where you want to go. That's what compound interest is. That's the compound effect right there. And that's just from capital appreciation. That's not even talking about dividend income, which I'm also going to talk about in this video. I have other side hustles that I do as well. I have done Uber Eats a countless number of times. I run an online business. I do a lot of different things. Now, you do not have to follow in my footsteps, and I do understand, just a little bit of a disclaimer here. What I do every week and the lifestyle that I live personally is completely unrealistic and completely unsustainable. I'll be the first one to admit it. I noticed 4 things. I came to a conclusion, a 4-part conclusion a couple of years ago. Number 1, I'm young. Number 2, I have great health. 3, I have a God-given level of energy. But then there's also number 4. There will eventually come a day where numbers 1, 2, and 3 are no longer true. I will no longer, one day, I will no longer be able to do what I do on a weekly basis. I will no longer be able to abuse myself the way that I do. I will no longer be able to crank out 14, 15, 16, 17-hour days. I will no longer be able to get home at 11 o'clock and then wake back up at 3 something in the morning and get right back to it. I understand that that's not realistic. I understand that it's not sustainable. I understand that most people will not be able to do that. I have a little bit of help. God's watching out for me because he knows that I have good intentions, and he knows that I am not just building something for myself. I'm building something for myself right now so that it can eventually be propelled to help as many people as I can in the future. He knows this, and he's guiding me through these painfully early mornings, followed by painfully late nights, followed by more painfully early mornings and painfully late nights. But anyway, I digress. The point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to follow in my footsteps, and you don't have to do exactly what I do. I'm not saying you need to work a full-time job, a part-time job, run a YouTube channel, start a clothing brand, do this, do that, invest all your dollars. I'm not saying you have to do all that. If you are a plumber or an electrician, do you know how easy it is to take your skills and knowledge and tools and resources and do a little bit of side work, which is exactly what you do for a living as it is? You don't have to learn something new. You don't have to go and start a whole new project. Like, no, you can do exactly what you do all day, every day, but on the side. And the cool thing about that is the job offers you the stability, but the side hustle offers you an opportunity. And that opportunity is not just for you, but it's for the customer as well. The customer can spend a little less, but you will simultaneously make more. The difference is you're cutting out the middleman. You're cutting out the upper company that takes the majority. And an example that I can give is that I had to go a couple weeks without a car one time, a couple years ago, and I had to take a ride-sharing platform to work every day. And I asked one of the drivers early on, I was like, hey, what do you say we cut out the middleman? I pay you more than you're making for this trip, which is also less than what I'm spending for this trip, and you'd like temporarily be my personal driver to and from just for the next like week or two. Guy said yes, and guess what? He made more money than he would ordinarily make. I spent less money than I would ordinarily spend on that, and we won. Both of us. So what I'm saying is, regardless of what you do for work, there's a good chance you can take your skills, your knowledge, your tools, your resources, and do the same exact thing you already do, but on the side, and make a little bit of extra money. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a side hustle, a highly profitable side hustle. So you don't have to do exactly what I do for a living. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. Those are just some examples of jobs that I thought of off the top of my head. You can do these things outside of work and continue to make money and build yourself up a little something. If you are a mechanic and you have a garage, you can do the same thing you do at work outside of work and continue to make money. This is a side hustle, and it doesn't have to be something overly strenuous. You can start yourself a dog walking business. It doesn't matter. The importance here is, or the keynote here is, to start yourself a secondary stream of income. Build yourself up multiple streams of income. It could be an online entertainment. It could be plumbing. It could be dog walking. It could be mechanic. It could be pressure washing. It could be so many different things. So many different things. And back to doing things kind of the way that I do things, I invest a lot of my dollars, and my preferred form of passive income is as passive as it gets. As hands-free as possible, something that involves absolutely no brain work at all whatsoever. I don't have to lift a finger. I don't have to break a sweat. These things do what they're going to do while I'm working. So while I'm working and making money, I'm also making money in a different way without thinking about it, without doing it, without being involved, without being punched in. It's making money for me while I make money for myself. So I don't want to say twice as much money is being made because it's not making me that much yet. But my preferred way of going about making that passive income is by investing. And not just simply investing. What I like to do is called dividend growth investing. And a lot of the dollars that I invest do go into broad market index funds. And the reason for that is because it's the safest bet you can possibly make. Not one single investor, not one person in history who has bought and held the S&P 500 over any 20-year rolling period with dividends reinvested, not one human being in history has lost money. Every single one made money. The S&P 500 has never, not one time, lost money over any 20-year rolling period. When dividends are reinvested and returns are adjusted for inflation, every single person has come out on top. And if you hold or if you held a broad index fund for 20 years and reinvested dividends, you've always come out ahead historically, despite wars, despite recessions, including the Great Depression, despite inflation spikes, despite market crashes. Every single person won if they bought and held broad market index funds and reinvested their dividends. As hands-off as possible. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to check every 15 minutes and buy and sell and buy and sell. You don't have to do any of that. Buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold, reinvest dividends, buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold, reinvest dividends. That's it. And you can automate it all entirely. So that's how I go about index fund investing, which has provided me with, in the grand scheme of things, not a tremendous amount of money, but from where I come from, a tremendous amount of money. Or capital appreciation, I should say. On paper gains. Unrealized gains. Now, the cool thing about active versus passive income, I'll say, is if you are index fund investing and or dividend growth investing, the way that I am, I'm doing both. My dividend income pays me close to, and keep in mind, this is only January through September. I don't have the ability or the means of calculating in October, November, and December just yet. I got to wait until January to do that. But January of this year through September of this year, my dividend income pays me about 10.9% of what my full-time job pays me. And my full-time job earlier this year gave me a 3.5% pay raise. My part-time job, by the way, gave me somewhere between 2.5% and 3% of a pay raise. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it was like 2.8 or something like that. Yet my dividend income this year so far compared to last year, I got myself a 14% pay raise. And again, that's not even factoring in October, November, and December's passive income, dividend income that will be coming in over the next 2.5 months. So realistically, 2025 is probably going to have somewhere between a 15 and 20% passive income pay raise. Imagine that. Imagine a 15 to 20% pay raise. That's unheard of. You ain't going to get that at work. Not without a promotion. What are you going to get at work? 2.5%? Maybe 3%? I was fortunate and got a 3.5%. I think it was 3.4%, but whatever. 15 to 20% pay raise on passive income. Passive income that you do not have to work for. All you have to do, buy, hold, reinvest dividends. Buy, hold, reinvest dividends. Buy, hold, reinvest dividends. And you can automate it 100%. You can have your brokerage app make deposits into your account automatically. You can have it buy into index funds or stocks of your choice automatically. And you can have the dividends reinvested for you automatically. You can set these things up and have it completely taken care of. And you can forget all about it and check back in 3 months, 12 months, 3 years, 6 years later and say to yourself, oh my God, the snowball effect is now a friggin' behemoth. See, that's the difference between active income and passive income. Active income involves an alarm clock, driving to work, strenuous activity, and being mentally taxed throughout the day. And then driving home completely exhausted, completely worn out, completely depleted, counting down the seconds to your day off. See, if you work yourself to death like that, Monday through Friday, you're going to spend your Friday night and probably the first half of your Saturday recovering, and then you're going to spend the second half of your Saturday and all day Sunday mentally preparing yourself for more exhaustion. What kind of life is that? That's not life. There's more to life than work and traffic. You shouldn't spend your time outside of work trying to recover from work. That's not what it's about. Which is why I know it might sound counterproductive to take on even more work the way that I do. A full-time job, part-time job, online business, and all the other, little projects that I work on. I know it might sound counterproductive, but these things will eventually replace my full-time job. These side hustles that I have, these projects that I'm working on, the index fund investing and dividend growth investing that I'm doing will eventually replace a good portion of my active income. Passive income will take over. Passive income will do the trick. Passive income will eventually take a lot of the weight off my shoulders. And what's cool about it is money is made whether you're punched in or not. Money is made whether you're working or not. Money is made whether you're awake or not. That's the power of passive income. And I've been talking about this for over half a decade, right here on my YouTube channel. There are people watching this video right here, right now, that also watched or listened to me say these things over half a decade ago and haven't done anything. They put no effort into starting a side business, a side project, a side hustle. Over 5 years have gone by. They've seen no results because they took no action. And I'm still sitting here saying the same exact thing. I'm seeing results because of 5 years worth of work. And the funny thing is, the 5 years worth of work, I would say it's actually way, way, way more than that. It's probably, if I had to guess, I would say it's actually probably 10 years worth of work crammed into 5 years. Being that I took on a secondary job. Being that I cut back on dang near every expense in my life. Being that I make myself broke every single week, investing every dollar to my name, every leftover dollar to my name, after the bills are taken care of, after I make sure I paid for what I paid for to keep a roof over my head, food in the fridge, and my car on the road, every leftover dollar after that gets invested. Every single one. Every single week. Every single month. Every single year for, at this point, 6 years, I believe. Yeah. September of 2019 is when I stepped into the stock market for the first time. March of 2020 is when I really started getting aggressive with it. So it's been 5-6 years of doing this and working my friggin' face off and building multiple streams of income for a reason. Number 1, for safety. 2, for more money. And 3, to build an empire. See, all the active income, all it really is fuel to the, pun unintended here, fire. To build yourself even more passive income. See, that's what it's about. That's how you do it. And it's crazy because, yeah, am I tired? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Oh, yeah. Big time. And I'm going to keep it going as long as I can. But I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. When it comes to active income and passive income, what are some forms of passive income you're bringing in? We're all bringing in active income. We're all going to work and getting a paycheck or direct deposit or whatever. We're all getting active income. We know what active income is. What is a side hustle that you're working on? Something that is a little bit extra. Something that's a little bit more your own. Head on down in the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. And as always, if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, subscribe to my second channel for bonus videos, and make sure to follow me on Instagram for some finance-related photography, TikTok for some finance-related little video snippets, and of course X. That's where the party's at, people. Follow me on X for all of my thoughts related to precious metals, business, stocks, real estate, AI, memes, the list goes on, at Mykie DYDSS across all platforms, or they're all going to be linked in the description. If you need any finance or prepping, camping supplies, I will leave some Amazon affiliate links in the description for your convenience. And of course, last but certainly not least, if you're not already a member of the VIP Club, please consider becoming a VIP Club member. You get early and commercial-free access to every single one of my videos, and from time to time you get some bonus videos as well. VIP Club link in the description. And once again, head on down in the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. What are your thoughts on active income versus passive income? We know you're making active income. What are you doing to make some passive income? We know you have a job, but what are you doing in regards to having a side hustle, a side business? Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.